The stupidest thing just happened. I feel stupid explaining it, but I was just doing yoga over there by the van. I was doing some headstands, trying to do like a headstand into a forearm stand. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll try a handstand, whatever. And I'm literally just on the ground, shifting around. And when I do that, I dislocate my knee. I'm turning and I feel this like sharp, nauseating pain in my left knee. And I haven't done this in a while. I've dislocated my left knee a couple times. It's just really wonky. It's been a while though, and I instantly was like, holy fuck, did I just tear my ACL in the stupidest and the least convenient way possible? Because as you could see, I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere. I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere right now. So I think worst case, I could have hobbled to my van and driven down to an urgent care, or worst case, called an ambulance. Luckily, I didn't need to do that. I was just like riding on the ground, slowly trying to scoot myself for 20 minutes. And then I get to the ledge of my van and I kind of just full upper body start to pull myself up to get into the van. And when I do that, I finally feel like my knee snap back into place and it made a little bit of a noise. And then I was able to put weight on my foot again. That was just silly. It also was a great reminder that if that were to happen, if I were to actually like tear my ACL or something, it's kind of just me out here. And my cat Gabby is not able to carry me into the van and drive me to a hospital. Good reminder, and I feel much more appreciative of my health. So right now I'm in the El Dorado forest near Lake Tahoe. I just drove my ass here from Colorado, and these weeks have just been so busy. And honestly, I think that's part of the reason why I just dislocated my knee. Like, I'm just going too hard in the paint right now when it comes to just trying to do everything. I just came back from a work trip and picked up Gabby, did some chores. I was just exhausted, a little, like the smidgen bit jet lagged. It wasn't too bad going from Eastern Standard to Mountain Standard, just enough to where I was exhausted. And my van was a hot mess, so I'm tired. I'm surrounded by mess. The following day, I had to drive 12 hours on my way to California, and that drive was rough. I had my emotional support vape, which I told myself I'd quit once I left Colorado. That didn't happen. Told myself I'd quit once I finished my first day of driving. That didn't happen. Okay, I'll quit it once it hits 0. That didn't happen. And you could still hit it once the juice hits 0. You're just puffing straight formaldehyde or whatever bullshit. It was just making me feel like shit, so that didn't help. My ass was so addicted for hitting a vape for 2 weeks on my work trip that I just felt kind of trapped into it. So what I decided to do was, this is kind of gross, I had to throw it away in the shitter, because I tried to throw it away in the normal trash and I just took it out of the normal trash because I'm a fiend. I think right now this is probably the 8th time that I've quit nicotine in the past 12 months. So I know how my little monkey brain works. And my monkey brain, she just wants to take. When the vape is covered in my own shit, that's where I draw the line. That's not where I'm going to take it. So that's where the vape went. I feel a bit tired today, a bit anxious today, but overall the withdrawals aren't as bad, probably because the vape was on 0 anyways. There's barely any nicotine in there. I was just addicted to whatever foreign Chinese metals I was inhaling. And I decided to make the drive even longer by stopping at the Great Plains National Park. It was on the way, and I was like, fuck it, it's something to cross off my list. Didn't really have much desire to spend any time there. I was literally just checking a box. But as I was driving closer to it, I saw a sign for a new data center that they're trying to build out in Nevada near Ellie. It honestly just really pissed me off, because the whole discourse around data centers and seeing the negative impact it has on local people, on local nature, and just the blatant disregard for what is already inhabiting that area. It's very American to go to a place and exploit it without any care of the people or the nature. But that doesn't mean it's okay. It's really frustrating. And I watched a short YouTube video about the data centers as well, how they're fucking up people's water supply, both by just completely putting these people in drought and also putting a bunch of sediment and sand into their water, how the data centers themselves act like an acoustic weapon of sorts, just this high-pitched buzzing, droning on and on. And these people own homes in this area. They've built their lives in this area. This nature has existed to sustain that community and to sustain itself for God knows how long. And now it's just being fucking exploited. So when I get to the Great Plains National Park, you know, I'm used to the Colorado or the Washington mountains, the dramatic views. There was a pretty good overlook there, I'll say. I was surprised with the overlook that I came upon about 15 minutes into driving into the park. But I was also reminded that I need to appreciate and respect that nature, even if I don't register it as beautiful or as special as other national parks, as other viewpoints. We need to respect that nature and the people around it. Don't go speeding through these little mountain towns. Go and spend some money in these moments where you have the rich and powerful coming through, building these data centers, taking advantage of these people and resources. That's when you really need to band together at lower levels, at grassroots level, and at a community level. I'm starting this van life journey and I feel like I'm really lacking community. I think I can contribute to that by being respectful and being considerate in these little mountain towns. And also to my 11 subscribers talking about this shit. I feel like not enough van life influencers or van life creators are talking about how, I feel like they're not really talking about how they're exploiting our natural resources, how they're selling off our public lands, how one of the resources that is most important to us, water, is being reallocated to these machines. And where's the conversation about that? I love a pretty view, but there's so many things that are more important than a pretty view. And I wish there was more online uproar about it from these people that use those pretty views and enjoy them as well. So anyways, I stayed at my first truck stop. There was a couple trailheads in Nevada, some, I guess, BLM options a bit further out from the highway, but I really just wanted to have the experience of staying at a truck stop just to cross it off my list because it's kind of intimidated me, and the concept of the knock has been dancing in my mind with my social anxiety. So I stayed at a truck stop for the first time and it was really chill. There was some fumes coming in through the window. That was a bit annoying, but I slept real good because I was exhausted that entire day. Saturday, that day that I drove the 12, probably 13 hours, I had like 3 Red Bulls and 3 yerba mates. So I also was struggling with paranoia. Which is kind of weird to talk about as somebody that used to do a lot more stimulants. It's a very real thing. Yeah, it's really bled into this week as well. I think because this campsite's a bit more remote too. And I just came back from 2 weeks of staying in a hotel on this work trip that motherfucking, these tiny little bugs are biting me out here. The fuck? Sorry. So just being in the van again, rational dangers are being way blown out of proportion, are being exemplified in my mind. Is that the word? Exemplified? Amplified. The paranoia is really amplifying these rational fears that, you know, you have to be cognizant of and aware of while living on the road. But ultimately, with the right measures and luck, you're just going to be fine. I saw a video recently of a creator that said, van life is not dangerous as a solo woman. And I don't think that's true. I think the world in general is more dangerous as a solo woman. So van life is not excluded from that because we are just constantly surrounded by our most natural predator, which is men, unfortunately. But the paranoia has just kind of, I don't know, I really just need to shake it off and also just not caffeinate as much. So then when I just twisted my knee right there, the paranoia was really setting in of like, I need to protect myself right now and get into the van and ensure that I can protect myself in here in case it takes me much longer to rehabilitate. At least I can lock the doors of the van and be good with my cat, which so dramatic, but also something to consider. If I'm out here like disabled on the ground in front of anybody that can drive by, you just don't want to be in vulnerable positions. As a man, as a woman in this lifestyle, you don't want to be in vulnerable positions. But I think as a woman, people are more likely to take advantage of that vulnerability. And that's where the amplified danger comes from. Anyways, I actually almost wasn't going to stay at this campsite. I had found a campsite on iOverlander that was near Carson City, like 15 minutes out of Carson City, Nevada, which would have been really nice for me because they have a Planet Fitness. They had a Trader Joe's. I was rejoicing. They had a fucking Trader Joe's. And I'm driving up to this campsite and I'm just kind of getting this weird pit of stomach vibe. The roads are much more difficult than I thought they would be. I even got my van stuck once. The roads were really carved out. My right wheel, I accidentally dipped into one of those ditches, and my whole van, I thought I was gonna just completely fall over. I was stressed out, tweaking. It took me a couple tries to get it out, but luckily 4x4. I was just trying to access this campsite and I wasn't able to get to it with all these windy, tiny dirt roads. And the area itself just felt very exposed. So already with my like amplified paranoia, I felt just not comfortable being there. But since I was rushing really quickly going from my work trip to driving out to the California area to just being out here, because I also have another work trip coming up next week. It never ends. I didn't really plan a plan B. So I was just kind of tweaking. I was disappointed. Things were not going to plan. I drove closer to Lake Tahoe and I found this campsite in Strawberry, a little town, which I think that's such a cute name, Strawberry. The couple campsites lower were already taken and I was just telling myself, fuck. I can almost tell in my gut when a campsite is actually going to be empty and work out for me. So I drove up a lot further and I found this one. And honestly, it's fucking awesome. I'm surrounded by a bunch of burned trees, which for some of these campsites along this road, you have to be careful of widowmakers, which is a new term that I learned. I was on iOverlander and people kept talking about widowmakers and I just kept thinking of Overwatch. I was like looking around for fat asses, I guess. I don't know. And then I was thinking, what kind of spider is this? I was really confused. But then I realized that widowmaker is dead parts of trees that fall and can kill you, can injure you, can fuck up your van, whatever. So luckily this spot was not only empty, but I have a lot of clearance from these widowmakers. I'm in the El Dorado forest. I don't know exactly when this fire was. I think it was before 2023 because a lot of the iOverlander reviews are starting to speak to the dead trees and the widowmakers around that time frame. This fire, the El Dorado fire, was the fire that happened when the gender reveal went wrong. I don't know if y'all remember the headlines for that. That caused all of this death and destruction. It's actually really sad to see. Because these trees are fucked. And to think it was just somebody being stupid and careless with their gender reveal. Just get a cake with a filling. Speaking of respecting the earth, holy shit. Because even though I'm surrounded by beauty, it's scorched. It's a bit sad to see. This campsite's great because I love this spot right here, but if I want to drive down a bit, I can also have a smaller area in this little grass patch by a creek. I'm a little freak for the creek. I was going to go meditate by it earlier today, but then I just dislocated my knee randomly. And after that, I was pissed. Once I got my knee back in place, I was both relieved and I was pissed. So I just laid in this hammock and just bundled up and was just like seething. Why I gotta be nerfed like that? My knee just has to randomly dislocate. And it wasn't like I was skiing or anything where I fucked up my knee before. The only times I've dislocated my knee, once playing tennis, that was fair. One time I was smoking when I used to smoke a lot of weed, because obviously I used to smoke a lot of weed. I was laying in bed and trying to get up out of bed while simultaneously accidentally like pressing my arm into my leg, and then it just popped, dislocated. That was a similar situation where I was like trying to move around and writhing in pain until it just popped back into place. And I was like, oh, I guess we're back. But it's just stupid. So some stats and achievements from this weekend are: first work trip in the van, check. First time staying at a rest stop, check. First time going to the Great Plains National Park, check, even though I was there for 15 minutes. How much money did I pay on gas going from Denver, Colorado out here to Lake Tahoe? I haven't counted it up yet, but I'll put the number right here and I'll tell you, it was a lot. Every time I'd fill up about with a quarter tank left, it was $100. I am learning the art of non-attachment and just letting the numbers count up and staring at it and just desensitizing myself with it and just moving on with my life, because that's out of my control and I'm not going to let that stop me from what I'm trying to do out here. Even though the oil crisis and the violence in the Middle East, we could stop that before it has detrimental ramifications on our food supply, our transportation, imports, export, whatever. I'm no world leader. What do I know? But I'm going to buy a bunch of gold. Buy gold. Another achievement, I remade my bed for the first time, washed all my bedding, put it back on. Putting a duvet cover on in a van is actual human torture. Like, Guantanamo Bay, take fucking notes. With a cat, too. Making my bed with Gabby in a normal house was hard enough. She loves to go under the sheets and just be a little bitch about it. But in a van, I think I'm just not going to do that again. I'll either just, live in filth, or I'll throw it away and I'll buy a new one. My work trip also just gave me an appreciation for this lifestyle. It was nice staying in a hotel bed, I'll tell you that much, and having a per diem for food. I was just kind of rotting in an office all day, and I was really looking forward to getting back here, and I'm happy to be back. My plans, once again, did change. I originally was planning to be on Sequoia and then Yosemite this weekend. However, I have a surprise work trip to Barcelona, which I'm so excited about. I love international travel and I love Spain, but I've only been to Madrid. So Barcelona, where my work is paying for it, like, I am ecstatic. I'm absolutely ecstatic. It is in a week though, and I feel really bad because I was planning on having a friend meet me in Yosemite and he bought a non-refundable flight and I am no longer able to do that. So I also learned that I need to be careful with planning things, with how much plans change. And if I'm going to plan something with somebody, they got to have their own car, they got to be self-sufficient, and maybe it's more so just an alignment of plans versus a dependency on me, because I feel really bad that I had to bail my friend. But also Barcelona, it's going to be really good. So unfortunately, Gabby's going to another sitter. So I'm sorry, Gabby, in advance. I know you don't like that, but Gabby did so great with her other sitters while I was gone on this work trip. And she lives in a van. She is so capable. When I come back from a Barcelona trip, though, I am going to go mushroom foraging in Mount Shasta and stay the week in the Shasta Lazen National Forest, hit up that national park as well, which I'm so excited. I've heard a lot of good things about Mount Shasta and just the vibes out there. I've always wanted to go mushroom foraging. That'll be really great. It's about the end of the season for that, so I'll be able to hopefully get some good stuff. And after that week, it'll be going up into Oregon in the PNW, and yeah, we're going home, baby. I'm really excited. Follow along for that. For now, I'll close out this video with future me chilling at South Lake Tahoe, enjoying the beautiful crystal clear water, maybe doing a little bit of paddleboarding. I will see you guys soon. Bye.